was also asked to recite some prayers for him. And I thought we could also do that. And so, yeah, let's just jump right into it. And the first thing we always do in any kind of practice is adjust our motivation. So here, always here in the Mahayana tradition, we should set as vast a motivation as we can. So thinking that the purpose of my life is to benefit all sentient beings, and in particular, in order that I may free all the sentient beings of all their suffering and the cause of suffering, then I need to achieve the state of enlightenment, because then and only then will I have the skills, the qualities to guide sentient beings in the most effective way. And therefore, in order to achieve enlightenment, I need to purify my mind of all the obscurations, as well as to collect all the causes for enlightenment. And therefore, I'm going to do this practice here today. And then in particular, one of the causes for achieving enlightenment is to always be guided by a perfect guru who will, give us teachings, guide us along the path. And so now here, our Guru Namjong Rinpoche, we say we're doing these prayers for him, but actually the prayers are for us. So when Rinpoche manifests illness, then his activities to teach also get curtailed. So in order that we can continue to receive guidance from him, then we do this practice so he can not manifest this appearance of being ill, and so that again, having manifested the aspect of being in perfect health, then continue his vast activities to benefit sentient beings, and especially us, those who have a connection with him. So yeah, that's important to keep in mind. And then it's also important to keep in mind the this medicine Buddha practice. So a lot of people think that, oh, it's just for sick people, it's just to recover from illness, but actually these medicine Buddhas, the 7 medicine Buddhas, they made extensive prayers to benefit sentient beings of this Kali Yuga, the degenerate times which we are now in. And as we read through this sutra, then you'll see all these different prayers they made to also pacify hunger, thirst, poverty, conflict, various types of suffering that sentient beings are experiencing in this degenerate time. So also we can think, yes, we have our goal ultimately for the attainment of enlightenment and to lead all sentient beings to enlightenment. But in the more near term, the more immediate time frame, then all these things, war, the terrible war going on in Ukraine, all the various poverty, hunger and thirst, economic problems, natural disasters, unhappy minds, anything that causes sentient beings to suffer, we also hope that these be pacified immediately, and that sentient beings not experience these things again. So I'm going to open up the Medicine Buddha text. So I can do a screen share for the people who are on the Zoom. And then those of you here in person, you have the text in front of you. So let me do the screen share. Okay. Okay. So now we will start. And I have a slightly different edition. So I'll use this edition I have on my computer and just follow along if you have the actual text. It's probably mostly the same. Okay, so we're starting on page 4 of the booklet, but page 6 in the ebook, Refuge in Bodhicitta. So now, we set our motivation. Then the other thing we do before the practice, we do what's called the visualization of the merit field. And we can visualize Medicine Buddha, all the other Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Do we have? So, Medicine Buddha. We have one here. Very nice image here. Okay. Actually, here in the center, we have the Medicine Buddha mandala on the ceiling. So, yeah, and the Kanka. Anyway, so visualize Medicine Buddha, all the other Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the space in front of you, and think that it's actually in nature of your guru, who has, now come and appeared in the form of Medicine Buddha to alleviate, the temporary sufferings within samsara, and then ultimately to help and guide you to enlightenment. I should also mention, the other main thing, Medicine Buddhists, they made prayers to help with the success of any kind of virtuous activity. So, many of us were engaged in study, Dharma study, some of us Tibetan study. And so for these, our study and practice to be without obstacle and have quick success, we also, pray to the Medicine Buddhas. And then visualizing all the sentient beings in the space around us, then we can think we're guiding them in this practice. Okay. Nature incorporating the entire body, speech, mind, qualities, and activity of all the Tathagatas with 3 times in 10 directions, source of 84,000 collections of dharmas, Lord of all the Arya Sangha, I seek refuge in the kind and glorious holy root and lineage gurus. I seek refuge in the complete enlightened Lord Buddhas. I seek refuge in the holy Dharma. I seek refuge in the Arya Sangha. I seek refuge in the 8 brothers gone to bliss, the Lord Medicine Buddhas with their host of retinue deities. I seek refuge in the glorious holy protectors, Dharma protector guardians endowed with the wisdom eye. So normally, the first time through, you do that full recitation. Then in the second one, you can just start with, I seek refuge in the kind and glorious holy root and lineage gurus. I seek refuge in the complete enlightened Lord Buddhas. I seek refuge in the holy Dharma. I seek refuge in the Arya Sangha. I seek refuge in the 8 brothers gone to bliss, the Lord Medicine Buddhas with their host of retinue deities. I seek refuge in the glorious holy protectors, Dharma protector guardians endowed with the wisdom eye. I seek refuge in the kind and glorious holy root and lineage gurus. I seek refuge in the completely enlightened Lord Buddhas. I seek refuge in the holy Dharma. I seek refuge in the Arya Sangha. I seek refuge in the 8 brothers gone to bliss, the Lord Medicine Buddhas with a host of retinue deities. I seek refuge in the glorious holy protectors, Dharma protector guardians endowed with the wisdom eye. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly. By my merit from giving and the other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly. By my merit from giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened in the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly. By my merit from giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened in the Buddha, Dharma, Supreme Assembly. By my merit from giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Next, the 4 immeasurables. All sentient beings who, although self and all appearances are Dhammadhatu by nature, have not realized it thus. That I shall endow with happiness in the cause of happiness. I shall separate from suffering in the cause of suffering. I shall make inseparable from happiness without suffering. I shall set in equanimity the cause of well-being, free from attachment, aversion, and partiality. All sentient beings who, although self and all appearances are Dhammadhatu by nature, have not realized it thus. I shall endow with happiness and the cause of happiness. I shall separate from suffering and the cause of suffering. I shall make inseparable from happiness without suffering. I shall set in equanimity the cause of well-being, free from attachment, aversion, and partiality. All sentient beings who, although self and all appearances are dharmadhatu by nature, have not realized it thus. I shall endow with happiness and the cause of happiness. I shall separate from suffering and the cause of suffering. I shall make inseparable from happiness without suffering. I shall set in equanimity the cause of well-being, free from attachment, aversion, and partiality. Special bodhicitta. For the welfare of all other sentient beings, I need to attain complete Buddhahood. Therefore, I'm going to engage. Oh, huh. Okay, anyway. Therefore, I'm going to engage in the stages of the path, such as prostrating, making offerings, and heartfelt requests, entreating the holy minds to grant blessings to the 8 brothers gone to bliss, the Lord Medicine Buddhas, with our host of retinue deities. Okay, so that stanza wasn't in this printout. It was added here, and it actually should be. It's part of the text. But now, yeah, purifying the place. Through the power of the supreme truth of the Buddha's and Bodhisattva's blessings, the might of the 2 collections, and the purity of the Dharmadhatu, may this realm's beings and environment be enriched by Sukhavati with all the desirable perfections of both samsara and nirvana, jeweled ground, adorned with trees and with ponds, whose bottoms are covered with gold, silver, and pearl dust, flowers strewn and sandalwood fragrance rising, human and divine enjoyments, samadhi offerings everywhere. There, in the center of a charming jeweled palace, on lotuses, lion thrones, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas abide. May everywhere be filled with oceans of clouds of offerings which they enjoy, born through the force of mantra, samadhi, and aspiration. Okay, so now there is here in the text, offering cloud mantra. So those of you, you can look in the gold book. It's not in your text there, but it is in the gold book. You know, offering cloud mantra. So, yeah. It's in Taking the Mahayana Precepts, so page 25. So anyway, this offering cloud mantra, it's very important to do. It's very good. As a Rinpoche, he once mentioned, when talking about the benefits. Okay, so while we recite the mantra, then all these offerings that we have laid out here, and all offerings at your own houses, the various centers in the world, then as you recite the mantra, visualize that they multiply and come to pervade the entire universe, right? And then by reciting this mantra, then all the visualizations and visualized offerings, then they become suitable to be offered to the Buddha. So then, even if we've just laid out some whatever offerings we have here, we can collect the merit of having, filled the entire universe with offerings. Oh, Namo Bhagavate Vaishnava Oh, Namo Bhagavate Oh, Namo Bhagavate Avarana Vijadana Bhajayato. By the power of the truth of the 3 jewels of the blessings of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, by the power of the great might of the completed 2 collections, and of the completely pure and conceivable sphere of reality, may all these offerings become just so. So next is the invocation verse, and it says, with burning incense. So have we? Hmm? Oh, that's okay. So now those of you at home, you can also take part. And then when we do this, 2 sticks, again, some instructions from Ramzo Rinpoche, symbolizes or signifies the two bodies, the Dharmakaya, the enlightened mind of the Buddha, and the Rupakaya, the form body of the Buddha. And then, when you recite, when you light the incense, reciting Om Ahum, Om Ahum, Om Ahum, Om Ahum. Yeah. Compassionate protectors in degenerate times, 7 Sugatas, Buddha Shakyamuni, Holy Dharma, Bodhisattvas, and guardians, invited as the support and protective refuge to protect others and myself. May you come here and gather and grant your blessings. So now we do the 7 limb practice. And basically how this Medicine Buddha text works is, we're going to do this 7 limb practice to each of the medicine Buddhas, and then to Shakyamuni Buddha, and then to the Dharma, so forth. Yeah, please. So we visualize having more offerings appear, and then here they've manifested more flowers. Okay. Guru, whose kindness is without equal, king of the Shakyas, Manjushri, Shambhala, and so on, holding in their hands the profound sutra, to the direct and lineage gurus I prostrate. To the compassionate ones who liberate destitute beings, 7 Siddharthas, Buddha Shakyamuni, and Holy Dharma, Manjushri, Shabdura, Vajrapani, Dharma, and Shvara, and the Maharajas and Yakshas I prostrate. I make every collection of offering actually arranged and emanated to the force of mantra, samadhi, and aspiration. Okay. Hmm. Let's see. If we had pausing and stopping at different ones, because we're going to do the 7 limb prayer a lot. So here, rejoice in virtues. This text, I'm not sure. It's probably not there. So don't worry. I'll read it out for everyone. So here you rejoice in the goodness or the virtue of ourselves. Then the next time, pause and focus on rejoicing on the goodness. Then the gurus rejoice in the goodness of all. Okay. But yeah. So it said this process of practice of rejoicing, then it can strengthen, it can increase our previous yourself, then they double, right? Then if you rejoice Okay, we're back. All right. So then, it is said, when the amount of merit that a bodhisattva collects in one morning, right? So for us to accumulate that amount of merit, it would take us, I think it's something like 13,000 years, right? Why? Because, see, with a bodhicitta, their actions are being done for all sentient beings. So in that sense, it is multiplied in its strength, right? Yeah, 13,000 something years. I have to look it up. But anyway, then you can imagine, right? We're not just meditating on rejoicing of the merit that a bodhisattva collects in the morning, and not just one, but all the bodhisattvas and all the merit they accumulate in 3 times. So that's why Lama Tsongkhapa, he said in his one of his prayers, I think destiny fulfilled is translated as, right? That rejoicing is the practice that's praised by the wise to accumulate an extensive amount of merit with the least amount of effort. So some of you might be very busy taking care of your children, taking them to school, right, and so forth. Then you say, oh, I don't have time for, doing 100,000 prostrations or doing extensive meditation. So rejoice, right? Okay. Of course, if you do have time to do the practice, then also do the practice, but also rejoice, okay? So first, rejoice in all the good things you yourself have done in the past. Think of what you must have done in past lives to result in this precious human life today. Amazing. Practicing generosity, morality, patience, and making stainless pure prayers. Every good thing you experience now is the result of past positive actions you have done. As you're reflecting on the good things you must have done in the past, rejoice by reciting to yourself like a mantra, how wonderful it is, how wonderful it is. Okay, so we'll pause and write down. One of the lamas, they made this point. Even to hear the phrase, the Dalai Lama, right? You have had such great merit just to do that, right? Now, much less to meet, much less to receive teachings, right? So, most of you, you've met His Holiness. Many of you, you have a dharma relationship with Him. Unbelievable. So then remember, this is the result, right, of the cause. So the cause that you created, also unbelievable that you now have met His Holiness. So rejoice in that. And then rejoice in all the good things, the sincere prayers, the practices, helping others, following your teacher's advice that you are doing now in this present life. Thinking how wonderful it is, how wonderful it is. Then rejoice in all the virtuous activities you will do in the future, all the realizations on the path you will develop, and all the ways you will help others through teaching the Dharma, etc., thinking how wonderful, how wonderful. Okay, so we'll do more rejoicing in other, Okay, where? Okay. 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 So then back to the seventh prayer. Request and beseech. That means, requesting that the Buddha does not pass away into nirvana, or sorry, request the teachings and then beseech them not to pass away. And dedicate such virtues as these to the great enlightenment. Great Bhagavan assembly, please listen. Pray listen. Seven Sugatas, just as you promised, your previous prayers will be fulfilled during the final period of Shakyamuni's teachings. Pray, show me. In actuality, it is true. So now we have the prayers to the seven individual medicine Buddhas. Okay. So again, it's very good when we do this first, the prostration. You can have your hands in prostration mudra. Or you can do actual prostrations. To the Bhagavan Tathagata are fully in Buddha, renowned glorious King of excellence, signs I prostrate, offer and go for refuge. To the Bhagavan Tathagata are perfectly completed Buddha, renowned glorious King of excellence, signs I prostrate, offer and go for refuge. To the Bhagavan Tathagata are fully enlightened Buddha, renowned glorious King of excellence, signs I prostrate, offer and go for refuge. To the Bhagavan Tathagata are fully enlightened Buddha, renowned glorious King of excellence, signs I prostrate, offer and go for refuge. To the Bhagavan Tathagata are fully enlightened Buddha, renowned glorious King of excellence, signs I prostrate, offer and go for refuge. To the Bhagavan Tathagata are Funland Buddha renowned glorious King of excellence, signs I prostrate, offer and go for refuge. To the Bhagavan Tathagata. Funland Buddha renowned glorious King of excellence, signs I prostrate, offer and go for refuge. To the Bhagavan Tathagata. Funland Buddha renowned glorious King of excellence, signs I prostrate, offer and go for refuge. To the Bhagavan Tathagata. Funland Buddha renowned glorious King of excellence, signs I prostrate, offer and go for refuge. May the pledges you made ripen on myself and all sentient beings right now. May all my pure prayers succeed immediately. Yeah. golden in color with mudra of granting refuge, who accomplished 8 prayers, majestic with glory of two accumulations, glorious one of the Buddha field, unconquered by others, to the renowned glorious of excellent signs I prostrate. 2/3 of my songs is a beautiful body. One who sees, hears, or thinks of you is glorified. To the renowned glorious King of excellent signs I prostrate. I make every collection of offering actually arranged and emanated through the force of mantra an extensive meditation offering. Okay. So, right, we've already done that offering cloud mantra. Okay. So remember, all those offerings we visualize pervading the entire universe. And then think, okay, we've received these offerings through the kindness of sentient beings. Okay. So even, these flower garlands, then, there's someone who took the time to string them, right? The biscuits, all the farmers, all of the, people who made the chocolate chips or whatever, right? Everything here, everything we enjoy is coming from the kindness of sentient beings. So now that we are in this position, with a precious human rebirth and a thought to benefit others, and we're dedicating this practice for all sentient beings. So we're going to now make these offerings to all the Buddhas on behalf of all sentient beings, so they can share in the merit. And then as we make these offerings to the holy objects, we can think that they are manifestations of our own Guru, who is the one with all the other virtuous friends. And then, the virtuous friend is the most powerful object in the merit field. And so by thinking like this, you accumulate the most extensive merit. Okay. So now we place our hands in prostration mudra at our heart. And then each time we make offerings, think that we're prostrating and making offerings, and in the Guru's holy mind experiences great bliss. So first we make offerings to all the holy objects here in this place. Every single tanka, statue, stupa, scripture, picture, satsa, relic, prayer wheel. and we see them as inseparable from our own virtuous friend, who is one with all other virtuous friends. So again, prostrate, offer, not just once, but many times, and generate great bliss in the holy minds. And then we make all these offerings, both real and visualized, every single holy object here in India, including the Bodh Gaya Stupa, and all the holy beings in India, including His Holiness Dalai Lama, and all of the virtuous friends we have here. And then thinking, if he's done pilgrimage, all those other holy places, and all the other, monasteries, all the other statues, stupa, scriptures. Then see all these holy objects as inseparable from our own virtuous friend. Make these offerings many times and generate great bliss in the holy minds. Then we make all these offerings both real and visualized to every single holy object in Tibet, including the Jor Rinpoche statue in Lhasa that was blessed by Guru Rinpoche himself. By seeing them as inseparable from our own virtuous friend, again, presenting the offerings many times, and in this way generate great bliss in all the holy minds. Then we make all these offerings both real and visualized to every single holy object in Nepal, including the Bodhanath Stupa and Swayambhunath Stupa, and any virtuous friends we have in Nepal. By seeing them as inseparable from one's own virtuous friend, we make these offerings many times, and in this way generate great bliss in all holy minds. So then we make all these offerings both real and visualized to every other single holy object in the other Buddhist countries. So mainland China, Thailand, Taiwan, Burma, etc. Sri Lanka, we should also think of. By seeing them as all these holy objects as inseparable from our own virtuous friend, we make these offerings many times, and in this way generate great bliss in the holy minds. Then we make all these offerings both real and visualized to every other single holy object in the rest of the world, by seeing all these holy objects as inseparable from one's own virtuous friend. And in particular, we can also think we're making these offerings to Namjong Rinpoche, who's now in Singapore. We make these offerings many times, and in this way generate great bliss in all the holy minds. And then we make all these offerings both real and visualized to all the other 10 direction Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And then all the other statues, stupas, and scriptures, by seeing them as inseparable from one's own virtuous friend. Make these offerings many times, and this way generate great bliss in all the holy minds. Then we make all these offerings to Buddha Chenrezig, the Avalokiteshvara, seeing as inseparable from His Holiness the Dalai Lama and one's own virtuous friend. And making these offerings many times and generating great bliss in the holy minds. We make all these offerings both real and visualized to the 7 medicine Buddhas. So here it says in the parentheses, which is the same as making offerings to all the Buddhas. So this is another very excellent benefit of the practice. Then it is said, you make offering to medicine Buddha when it accumulates the same merit of having offered to all the Buddhas. Then by seeing them as separable from one's own virtuous friend, we make the offerings many times, and in this way generate great bliss in the holy minds. Then we make all these offerings both real and visualized to the Bodhisattva Siddhigarbha, seeing him as inseparable from one's own virtuous friend. make these offerings many times, and in this way generate great bliss in all the holy minds. Okay. Okay, so back to the rest of the 7 prayer. Okay. I confess all downfalls and negativities, rejoice in virtues. And here we'll continue with our rejoicing practice. Right? So the first time through, we rejoice in the virtues of ourselves. And now we'll rejoice in the virtue of others. Okay? So please meditate like this. Now think of all the wonderful things that others have done, all their virtuous qualities, and the way that people are helping one another in the past, have helped one another in the past, are helping each other now, and will do so in the future. Especially all of your companions in the spiritual life, right? Thinking how wonderful it is, and thinking also of the particular qualities that others have, such as generosity, intelligence, beauty, fame, wealth, devotion, etc. Thinking how wonderful it is, So again, maybe some of you thinking, what? Beauty? Well, it is said that beauty is the effect of having practiced patience in the past, right? Mm-hmm. Then we think of the life stories of the various saints of all the different religious traditions and how they benefit others through devoting their lives through spiritual practice and service. So we rejoice in their qualities as well, thinking how wonderful it is, Then, yeah, we'll rejoice in Buddhas and Bodhisattvas next time. Okay. So request and beseech and dedicate such virtues as these to the great enlightenment. Okay, so someone has just come. What page are we on in the booklet? 6? Okay, we're on page 6. Fourth paragraph on page 6. To the force of hearing the Conqueror's name, expressing it, remembering, prostrating, and offering, may all sinning beings such as ourselves be free from epidemics, execution, criminals, and spirits, have faculties fully complete, have the continuum of suffering and negativities cut, not fall to lower realms, and experience the happiness of humans and gods. With hunger, thirst, and poverty pacified, may there be wealth, without torments of body, such as binding and beating, without harm of tigers, lions, and snakes, with conflict pacified, endowed with loving minds, and relieved from the fear of flood as well. May we pass the fearless bliss. And when we pass away from this life, may we be born from a lotus in that Buddha field, qualities complete, become a vessel for transmitting the teachings of conquerors such as renowned, glorious King of excellent science, and cause them delight. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, King of lotus sound, brilliant radiance of skill, adorned with Jews, moon, lotus, I prostrate, offering, go for every. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, King of lotus sound, brilliant radiance of skill, adorned with Jews, moon, lotus, I prostrate, offering, go for every. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, King of lotus sound, brilliant radiance of skill, adorned with Jews, moon, lotus, I prostrate, offering, go for every. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, King Lotus and brilliant meanings of skill, don't Jude Moon Rose, I partial out and go verge to the Bhagavad Pulling and Buddha, King Lotus and brilliant meanings of skill, don't Jude Moon Rose, I partial out and go verge to the Bhagavad Pulling and Buddha, King Lotus and brilliant meanings of skill, don't Jude Moon Rose, I partial out and go verge to the Bhagavad Pulling and Buddha. King Lotus and brilliant meanings of skill, don't Jude Moon Rose, I partial out and go verge to the Bhagavad Pulling and Buddha. King Lotus and brilliant meanings of skill, don't Jude Moon Rose, I partial out and go verge to the Bhagavan Tathagatha, full and Buddha. King Lotus and brilliant means of skill, don't choose me, Lotus, I prostrate, offer, and go for refuge. Please may the pledges you made ripen on myself and all sinning beings right now. May all my pure prayers succeed immediately. Okay, so that one isn't in the booklet, but it's been added. So anyway, yellow in color with mudra of granting the supreme, who accomplished 8 prayers, majestic with the glory of 2 accumulations. Glorious one with beautiful endowed with jewels, I prostrate to King Lotus sound. Well adorned with jewel moon and lotus. Wisdom expanded and master of all knowable objects. Endowed with a mind as deep as the ocean, I prostrate the feet of King Lotus sound. I make offerings early. Collection of offerings actually means an emanated to the force of mantra. I confess all downfalls and negativities. Okay, so here, it's not there in the book, but I thought we could do a more extensive confession. So let's see. Let's do the 35 confession Buddhas. So before the teaching or before the session, you know, usually the teacher will make prostrations. And many times I just do the kind of half prostration, right? But today I did full length prostrations. And let me say, this floor is great for full length prostrations, isn't it? It's really good. So, so, you know, if you're going to do, then you can have the cushion, right, for your knees. It's not about, you know, torturing yourself. So like that. Anyway, I thought we could do this Tung Shak, it's called, right? The confession to 35 Buddhas. So it's on page 42 in the booklet, and we'll just recite it, right? Because it is said that it's reciting the names that engages in the purification. But before we go into that, just very briefly, right, we do the 4-point powers to purify. And most important is to generate a sense of remorse or regret for our past negativities. So anytime we've harmed others, and especially now, as we're doing this practice for long Rinpoche's long life, then we should think of the times we, you know, not followed our guru's advice. Maybe criticize the guru or disturb the guru in some way. And then, yeah, more broadly, anytime we've harmed sentient beings, harmed, you know, the Dharma, and seeing, you know, the negative consequences of these negative actions that will, you know, experience suffering in the future, and then especially when we have done negative actions in relation to our guru, that then that will cause us to be separated and not be guided by him or her in the future. And then, even more broadly speaking, the negative consequences of our misdeeds is, yeah, that will get reborn in lower realms. But more importantly, if we are born in a place that isn't as fortunate is this precious to traverse the path. Right? So for all these I take revision. Okay, we're back. Sorry, the internet drops out. Anyway, let's. Not sure when I dropped out, but let's just start over again. The confession of downfalls. Okay. So yeah. Homage to the confession of the Bodhisattva's downfalls. I, Tenzin Namjong, throughout all times, take refuge in the Guru, take refuge in the Buddha, take refuge in the Dhamma, take refuge in the Sangha. To the Guru, teacher, Bhagavan Tathagata, perfectly complete Buddha, glorious conqueror Shakyamuni, I prostrate. To Tathagata, destroying Vajra essence, I prostrate. To Tathagata, radiant jewel, I prostrate. Tathagata, King Lord of Nagas, I prostrate. Tathagata, army affairs, I prostrate. Tathagata, the lady hero, I prostrate. Tathagata, jewel fire, I prostrate. To Tathagata, jewel moonlight, I prostrate. To Tathagata, meaningful to see, I prostrate. Tathagata, jewel moon, I prostrate. Tathagata, stainless one, I prostrate. Bestow courage, Pasha Talagada, pure one, Pasha Talagada, Pasha Talagada, glorious goodness, Pasha Talagada, glorious sound of water, Pasha Talagada, infinite splendor, Pasha Talagada, glorious light, Pasha Talagada, Sal's glory, Pasha Talagada, son of man, craving, Pasha Talagada, glorious flower, Pasha Talagada, pure light rays, clearly known by play, Pasha Talagada, lotus light rays, clearly known by play, Pasha Talagada, glorious world, Pasha Talagada, glorious mindfulness, Pasha Talagada, glorious name, Mother Banana, Pasha Talagada, King holding the victory banner, foremost power, Pasha Tathagata glorious one, told us doing Pasha Tathagata, and victorious in battle, Pasha Tathagata glorious transcendence, who's doing Pasha Tathagata glorious manifestations, meaning all Pasha Tathagata, also doing jewel lotus, Pasha Tathagata, perfectly complete Buddha, King Lord of the Mountains, firmly seated on jewel lotus, I prostrate. Then Pasha to the 7 minutes Buddhas, to the Bhagavan Tathagata, perfectly complete Buddha. Non-glitch King excellent sounds like Pasha to the Bhagavan Tathagata. Alright, perfectly complete Buddha. King Lord Sam brilliant skill doing children is Pasha to Bhagavan Tathagata, complete Buddha. Stainless excellent gold illuminating jewel accomplish all conduct by Pasha to the Bhagavan Tathagata, perfectly complete Buddha. Glorious supreme one free from sorrow Pasha to the Bhagavan Tathagata, perfectly complete Buddha. Melodious ocean proclaimed down Pasha, Bhagavan Tathagata, perfectly complete Buddha. Clearly known by play, king, clearly known by play, supreme losing ocean of Dharma, Pasha, Bhagavan Tathagata, perfectly complete Buddha. Medicine guru, king of right duty, light, I prostrate. All you 35 Buddhas, 7 medicine Buddhas, and others as many Tathagata are perfectly complete Buddhas as are abiding, living, and residing in the world system of 10 directions. All you Buddha Bhagavans, please pay attention to me. In this life and all the states of rebirth in which I have circled in samsara from beginningless lives, whatever negative actions I have created, may others create a rejoice in the creation of, whatever possessions of holy object of offering, possession of the Sangha, possession of the Sangha of 10 directions I have appropriated, made others appropriate a rejoice in the appropriation of, whichever among the 5 heavy and negative karmas without break I've done caused to be done or rejoice in doing of, whichever of the 10 non-virtuous paths of actions I have engaged in cause others to engage in, rejoice in engaging of, whatever I've done, being obscured by these karmas that causes me to be born as a sinning being in the hell realm, in the animal realm, the preta realm, in the irreligious country as a barbarian, as long like God, with imperfect faculties, holding wrong views, and not being pleased with Buddha's ascent. In the presence of the Buddha Bhagavans, who are transcendental wisdom, who are eyes, who are witnesses, who are valid, and who see with omniscient consciousness, I admit and confess all these negative actions. I do not conceal them nor hide them, and from now on, in the future, I'll abstain and refrain from committing them again. All Buddha Bhagavans, please pay attention to me. In this life and all the states of rebirth in which I have circled in samsara from beginningless lives, whatever roots of virtue I have created by generosity, even as little as giving just one mouthful of food into a being born in the animal realm, whatever roots of virtue I've created by guarding morality, whatever roots of virtue I've created by following pure conduct, whatever roots of virtue I've created by fully reckoning sentient beings, whatever roots of virtue I've created by generating bodhicitta, and whatever roots of virtue I've created by my unsurpassed transcendental wisdom, all these assemble and gather and combine together. I fully dedicate to the unsurpassed and excel that higher and higher that spirit to the spirit. Thus, I completely dedicate to the highest, perfectly complete enlightenment. Just as the past Buddha Bhagavans have fully dedicated, just as the future Buddha Bhagavans will fully dedicate, and just as the presently abiding Buddha Bhagavans are fully dedicating, like that I too dedicate fully. I confess all negative actions individually. I rejoice in all merits. I urge and request all Buddhas. May I receive the supreme, holy, and peerless transcendental wisdom. To the conquerors, the best of humans, those who are living in the present time, those who live in the past, and those who will likewise come, all those whose qualities are vast as an ocean with hands folded, I approach for refuge. Then you should have the general confession, right? Woe is me. Great Guru Vajradhara, all other Buddhas and Bodhisattvas abiding in the 10 directions, and all the Venerable Sangha, please pay attention to me. I who am named Tenzin Namjong, circling cycle existence from beginningless time to the present, overpowered by delusions such as attachment, hatred, and ignorance, by means of my body, speech, and mind, have committed the 10 unvirtuous actions, committed the 5 heavy negative karmas without break, committed the 5 nearing heavy negative karmas without break, have transgressed the vow of individual liberation, transgressed the vow of bodhisattvas, transgressed the samaya of secret mantra. I've been disrespectful to my parents, been disrespectful to my Vajra masters and my abbot, been disrespectful to my spiritual friends living in ordination. I've committed actions harmful to the 3 rare sublime ones, abandoned the holy dharma, criticize the Arya Sangha, harm sentient beings, and so on. These and many other non-virtuous negative actions I've done, cause others to do, rejoice in others doing, and so forth. In the presence of the great Guru Vajradhara, the Buddha Bodhisattvas who abide in 10 directions, and all the Venerable Sangha, I admit this entire collection of faults and transgressions are obstacles to my own higher rebirth and liberation and cause of Sangha existence and the lower realms. I do not conceal them. I accept them as negative. I promise to refrain from doing these negative actions again in the future. By confessing and acknowledging them, I will attain and abide in happiness. While by not confessing and acknowledging them, true happiness will not come. So now we think that through the force of reciting the names of the 35 Buddhas and 7 medicine Buddhas, through the power of their prayers and vows, through the power of your regret and other opponent forces, and through the power of your having done these prostrations, nectar and light rays descend from the holy bodies of the Buddhas. All negative karmas, obscurations, and imprints collected on your mental continuum from beginningless time are completely purified. Generate strong faith that your mind has become completely pure. Okay. So back to the medicine Buddha. Rejoice in virtues. So now we rejoice in the virtues of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So thinking specifically of all the incredible things that have done in the past, they're being done now and will be done in the future by all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, including your own teachers and the lineage lamas, remembering their qualities, their life stories, and the hardships they bore to generate realizations in their mind and preserve the Dharma, how they have helped countless living beings think how wonderful it is, how wonderful it is. So meditate like that. Request and beseech and dedicate such virtues as these to the great enlightenment. Through the force of hearing the conqueror's name, expressing it, remembering, prostrating, and offering, for all sinning beings such as ourselves, may the distracted flourish in the Dharma, have wealth and goods of humans and gods without torment at conception, always be born human, never be separated from bodhicitta, increase in virtuous Dharma, purify obscurations, attain the happiness of humans and gods. May we be free from being separated from the spiritual guide, from dark ages, spirit harm, death, and enemies, and from the dangers of isolated places. May we have enthusiasm for making offerings and performing ritual services. May lesser beings have samadhi, mindfulness, and strength, the dharani of non-forgetfulness, and attain supreme wisdom. May tormenting fires be cooled. And when we pass away from this life, may we be born from the lotus in that Buddha field, qualities complete, become a vessel for transmitting the teachings of the conquerors, such as King of Modi's sound, and cause them delight. Okay, next. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, same sex and gold, great jewel, accomplished all vows, I prostrate our friend Gold Ravish. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, same sex and gold, great jewel, accomplished all vows, I prostrate our friend Gold Ravish. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, King, same sex and gold, great jewel, accomplished all vows, I prostrate our friend Gold Ravish. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, same sex and gold, great jewel, accomplished all vows, I prostrate our friend Gold Ravish. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, our heart, fully enlightened Buddha, same sex and gold, great jewel, comes all vows, I prostrate our and gold rose, the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully Buddha. Same sex and gold, great jewel, comes all vows, I prostrate our and gold rose, the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully Buddha. Same sex and gold, great jewel, comes all vows, I prostrate, offer, and go for refuge. May the pledges you made reckon on myself and all sinning beings right now, may all my pure prayers succeed immediately. Golden color like the river Sambhu, with Dharma teaching Mudra, Glorious one of the Buddha field, incense field, like posture, stainless section of gold. Paramount among golds, like the gold of river Sambhu, blazing more radiant than thousand suns, body like a stainless golden stupa, posture, the stainless section of gold. I make every collection of offerings, after the ruins of enemies, of the force of mantras and non-demonstration. I confess all downfalls and negativities, rejoice in virtues, so here, last, we will rejoice in the virtues of all. Okay? Now allow your mind to become aware of and rejoice in all the wonderful things that yourself, others, and Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have done, are doing, and will do from now until all beings reach enlightenment. Feel expansive and happy for yourself and others, thinking how wonderful it is, how wonderful it is. Okay. Continuing on with the 7 limbs. Request. Remember, requesting the Dharma teachings and beseeching the Buddhas not to pass away. And dedicate such virtues as these to the great enlightenment. Through the force of hearing the conqueror's name, expressing it, remembering, prostrating, and offering, For all sentient beings such as ourselves, may the short-lived gain longevity, the poor full wealth. May combatants come to have loving minds. May we not be without training and fall to lower realms, but be bound by our vows and ever without bodhicitta. And when we pass away from this life, may we be born from a lotus in that Buddha field, qualities complete, become a vessel for transmitting the teachings of the conquerors, such as stainless excellent gold, and cause them delight. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, glorious, supreme glory, free from sorrow, prostrate, offer, and go for refuge. Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, supreme glory, free from sorrow, prostrate, offer, and go for refuge. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, supreme glory, free from sorrow, prostrate, offer, and go for refuge. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, supreme glory, free from sorrow, prostrate, offer, and go for refuge. Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, supreme glory, free from sorrow, prostrate, offer, and go for refuge. Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, supreme glory, free from sorrow, prostrate, offer, and go for refuge. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, supreme glory, free from sorrow, I prostrate, offer, and go for refuge. May the pledges you made ripen upon myself and all sentient beings right now. May my pure prayers succeed immediately. Light red in color with mudra of meditative equipoise. To accomplish the four prayers, majestic with the glory and truth and glorious one in the Buddha field without sorrow, I prostrate to supreme glory free from sorrow. Pass beyond sorrow, attain to supreme bliss, pacify sentient beings through poisons and suffering. Beings of the six realms and the glorified one supreme glory free from sorrow, prostrate. I confess all downfalls and negativities, rejoice in virtues, request and beseech, and dedicate such riches as these prostrating and offering for all sentient beings such as ourselves. May sorrow and the like always be pacified, and life be long and happy. May the conqueror's light increase bliss and joy in the hells. May we have brightness, beauty, and wealth unharmed by spirits. May we have love for each other, and may there be no disease. And when we pass away from this life, may we be born from a lotus in that Buddha field, qualities complete. Become a vessel for transmitting the teachings of the conquerors, such as supreme glory free from sorrow, and cause them delight. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, the lotus ocean of proclaimed Dharma, I prostrate, offer, and go for refuge. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, the lotus ocean of proclaimed Dharma, I prostrate, offer, and go for refuge. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, the lotus ocean of proclaimed Dharma, I prostrate, offer, and go for refuge. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, the lotus ocean of proclaimed Dharma, I prostrate, offer, and go for refuge. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, the lotus ocean of proclaimed Dharma, I prostrate, offer, and go for refuge. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, the lotus ocean of proclaimed Dharma, prostrate, offer, and go for refuge. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, the lotus ocean of proclaimed Dharma, prostrate, offer, and go for refuge. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, fully enlightened Buddha, lotus ocean of proclaimed Dharma, I prostrate, offer, and go for refuge. May the pledges you made ripen upon myself and all sentient beings right now. May all my pure prayers succeed immediately. Pink color with mudra of teaching Dharma, who accomplished four prayers, majestic with the glory of truth, and the glorious one of the Buddha field, victory, banner of Dharma, prostrate, lotus ocean of proclaimed Dharma. Great sound of Dharma conquering adversaries. Endowed with speech, as deep as the ocean, pacified of being suffering without exception. I prostrate to Melodious Ocean, proclaim Dharma. I make every collection of offering actually arranged and emanated through the force of mantra, samadhi, and aspiration. I confess all downfalls and negativities, rejoice in virtues, request and beseech, and dedicate such virtues as these to the great enlightenment. Through the force of hearing the conqueror's name, expressing it, remembering, prostrating, and offering, for all sentient beings such as ourselves, may we always have perfect human faith, hear the sound of Dharma, and be enriched with bodhicitta. For the sake of resources, may we give up negativities, may wealth increase. May we abide in love, have long lives, and be content. And when we pass away from this life, may we be born from the lotus in that Buddha field, qualities complete. Become a vessel for transmitting the teaching of the conquerors, such as Melodious ocean of proclaimed Dharma, and cause them delight. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, full enlightened Buddha, delightful king with clear knowing, supreme wisdom, ocean of Dharma, I prostrate offer and go for a wish. To Bhagavan Tathagata, full enlightened Buddha, delightful king with clear knowing, supreme wisdom, ocean of Dharma, I prostrate offer and go for a wish. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, full enlightened Buddha, delightful king with clear knowing, supreme wisdom, ocean of Dharma, I prostrate offer and go for a wish. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, full enlightened Buddha, delightful king with clear knowing, supreme wisdom, ocean of Dharma, I prostrate offer and go for a wish. To the Bhagavan Tathagata, full enlightened Buddha, the king clean and supreme wisdom, shine down my pressure up and go over it. Bhagavan Tathagata, Finland, Buddha, the king clean and supreme wisdom, shine down my pressure up and go over it. To Bhagavan Tathagata, Finland, Buddha, the king clean and supreme wisdom, shine down, I prostrate, offer, and go for it. May the pledges you made ripen upon myself and all sentient beings right now. May all my pure prayers succeed immediately. Coral colored with mudra of granting the supreme. Who comes for prayers majestic with the glory of two combinations. Glorious one of Buddha of ocean of jewels. I prostrate too, King clear knowing. Mind of profound dharma, wisdom difficult to fathom, sporting in the pure sphere of truth, who sees all noble objects directly. I prostrate to the King clear knowing. I make every collection of offerings actually rings and emanates with the force of mind and aspirations. I confess all downfalls and negativities. Rejoice in virtues, and request and beseech, and dedicate such virtues as these to the great enlightenment. Through the force of hearing the conqueror's name, expressing it, remembering, prostrating, and offering, for all sentient beings such as ourselves, may the distracted be free of malice and rich in goods. May those on evil paths to lower realms attain the 10 virtues. May those controlled by others gain perfect independence and have long life. Hear the names and be virtuous. And when we pass away from this life, may we be born from the lotus and the Buddha field, qualities complete, become a vessel for transmitting the teaching of the conqueror, says the clear king of clear knowing, and cause them delight. To Bhagavan Tathagata, filling and Buddha, medicine guru king of life, slide pressure off and go for reach. To Bhagavan Tathagata, filling and Buddha, medicine guru king of life, slide pressure off and go for reach. To Bhagavan Tathagata, filling and Buddha, medicine guru king of life, slide pressure off and go for reach. To Bhagavan Tathagata, filling and Buddha, medicine guru king of life, slide pressure off and go for reach. To Bhagavan Tathagata, filling and Buddha, medicine guru king of life, slide pressure off and go for reach. To Bhagavan Tathagata, filling and Buddha, medicine guru king loves that pressure up and go first. The Bhagavan Tathagata and Buddha. Medicine guru king loves that pressure up and go first. The Bhagavan Tathagata and Buddha. Medicine guru king loves that pressure up and go first. The Bhagavan Tathagata and Buddha. Medicine guru king loves that pressure up and go first. The Bhagavan Tathagata and Buddha. Medicine guru king loves that pressure up and go first. Please may the pledges you made ripen upon myself and all sentient beings right now. May all my pure prayers succeed immediately. Blue and color with the mudra of granting the supreme. For calmest 12 prayers and the distant authority. Glorious one of the Buddha field, love of light. I prostrate the medicine guru, king of doctors. Bhagavan with equal compassion for all whose name and merely heard dispels the suffering of their own. The spell of disease and three poisons I prostrate to the medicine Buddha and of sight. I make every collection of offerings actually arranged and emanated. Through the force of mantra, samadhi, and aspiration, I confess all downfalls and negativities, rejoice in virtues, request and beseech, and dedicate such virtues as these to the great enlightenment. Through the force of hearing the conqueror's name, expressing it, remembering, prostrating, and offering, may each and every sentient being, such as ourselves, become like you, grace with marks and signs. May the light dispelling darkness, the enjoyment of wisdom, and skillful means be inexhaustible. May those attracted to mistaken and lesser paths enter the Mahayana paths, and all be beautified by their vows. And may we be free from pain caused by immorality, be complete in faculties and without disease, have abundant goods. May those disillusioned with the weakest conditions always have powerful faculties. May they be free from Mara's noose and perverse viewpoints. May those tormented by kings gain bliss, and those who, out of hunger, support themselves through negativity, be satisfied with food received in accordance with valor. May hardships of heat and cold be pacified, and all good wishes be fulfilled. Being endowed with morality that pleases the Aryas, may we be liberated. May we pass away from this life, may we be born from the lotus in that Buddha field, qualities complete. Become a vessel for transmitting the teaching of the conquerors, such as medicine guru, king of doctors, and cause them delight. To Bhagavan Tathagata, Fully Buddha, Ghost Conqueror, Shakyamuni, Prashara, Franco for Refuge. To Bhagavan Tathagata, Fully Enlightened Buddha, Ghost Conqueror, Shakyamuni, Prashara, Franco for Refuge. To Bhagavan Tathagata, Fully Enlightened Buddha, Ghost Conqueror, Shakyamuni, Prashara, Franco for Refuge. To Bhagavan Tathagata, Fully Enlightened Buddha, Ghost Conqueror, Shakyamuni, Prashara, Franco for Refuge. To Bhagavan Tathagata, Fully Enlightened Buddha, Ghost Conqueror, Shakyamuni, Prashara. My pure prayers succeeding. Golden in color with impressing mudra, who through the force of unique compassion and wisdom became the glorious one of this fearless world system. I prostrate to the supreme leader, head of the Shakyas. Born in the Shakya lineage out of skillful means of the passion, unchallenged by others, forces, body majestic as golden mountain, I prostrate the king of Shakyas. I make every collection of offering the force of mantras cannot be an inspiration. Confess all downfalls and activities, rejoice in virtues. Request and beseech and dedicate such virtues these to the great enlightenment. Pray, bless us and all beings who lack a protector to receive here immediately without exception the benefits as taught by the Supreme Teacher in the extensive sutra ritual of Medicine Buddha. Supreme lamp dispelling the darkness of ignorance, foremost of medicine, relieving suffering disease, to the entire sublime jewel of Dharma, I prostrate off and go refuge. Supreme lamp dispelling darkness of ignorance, foremost of medicine, relieving suffering disease, to the entire sublime jewel of Dharma, I prostrate off. Of refuge. Supreme lamp dispelling the darkness of ignorance, homage to the mother of the victorious ones, perfection of wisdom and holy Dharma of three vehicles, who totally destroys the dark seed of suffering caused and uproots the pain of suffering completely. I make every collection of offering actually emanating through the force of mantra commanding aspiration. I confess all downfalls and negativities, rejoice in virtues. Request and beseech and dedicate such virtues as these to the great enlightenment. Through the blessings of the truth of the Holy Dharma Jewel, may I and others henceforth in all lives practice Buddha's teachings in their entirety, exactly as the Buddha intended. Okay, requesting the benefits of this practice. The conqueror accomplish these desired goals.
Reciting the mantras, right?
I'm back. So as you do this meditation, you can think that from Medicine Buddha's heart, Then light rays radiate out in 10 directions. These light rays then come to strike all sentient beings, purifying them of all of their negative karma, all their all the sufferings of body mind, as well as all of the obscurations to the liberation and enlightenment. So we'll do one of the long mantra and then the short mantra quite a few times. O Namo Bhagavate Dekanze Guru Vedaya Prabharajaya Tadagataya Arate Samasam Buddhaya Tayata Om Bekanze Ma Bekanze Raja Samogate Soha 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 Tayata Om Bekanze Ma Bekanze. I'm making the vision. Tayata Om Bekanze Ma Bekanze Raja Samogate Soha. Root Guru, whose kindness is without equal, king of the chakras, Manjushri, Sangha, and so on, holding in their hands this profound sutra to the direct and lineage gurus I prostrate. To the compassionate ones who liberate destitute beings, the seven Sugatas, Buddha Shakyamuni, the Manjushri, Kabdrol, Vajrapani, Brahma, and Ishvara, and the Maharajas and Yakshas I prostrate. I mean, every collection of all things actually arranged and emanated through the force of mantra, samadhi, and aspiration. I confess all downfalls and negativities, rejoice in virtues, request and beseech, and dedicate such virtues as these to the great enlightenment. Whatever I've done or caused to be done that was unprepared or degenerated, or done with my deluded mind, please be patient with all these. Whatever the beings of this generate age have done of lesser merit mixed with ignorant delusions, please be patient with these as well. Under the influence of miserliness, lacking in skill, having made bad offerings or faulty arrangements, or protector endowed with great compassion, please be patient with these as well. Whatever was superfluous or left undone, please be patient with these as well. By remaining here together with his image for the sake of all migrators, may he grant long life without illness, power, and supreme attainment. Om Supatisa Benzai Soha. Okay, auspicious verses. The host of medicine Buddha deities pervading all directions. of the round of space with perfection, some raining down multicolored lotuses, some singing songs requesting goodness, some acting to conquer Mars and the obstructors, and all bestowing on supreme good fortune well be joy. I shall sing, I shall voice sweet melody expressing auspiciousness. Supreme teacher of humans and gods, touching my crown, your feet is your name. Grants the glory of good fortune of Kumara's flowers blossom to Manindra, the abbot Shantara. Shita, and father and sons, to the second qualities of the supreme and root lineage gurus, may all negativity and generation be ended, and bliss and goodness increase like the waxing moon. May it be auspicious during the teachings divine for protectless beings who are untamed by others, sunlight conquerors, to the auspiciousness of all collective good qualities of the seven Sugatas, protector during degenerate times. May all negativity and degeneration be ended, and bliss and goodness increase like the waxing moon. May it be auspicious to enjoy the glory of perfection. Arising well from broad lotus eye, tongue of Lord of the Able Ones, especially even exalted in the later days of the Shakya's teachings, such that if performed, one gains the essence of immortality of ambrosia, through the auspicion of all collective qualities of that king of vast and profound Sushupataka, the generation be ended, and bliss and goodness increasing like the rising moon, may it be auspicious to enjoy the auspiciousness of all collective qualities of those children and lineage performing the sutra ritual simply by reciting the names of the king of doctors of all realms, 10 directions, and through especially the extensive prayers of teaching Buddha and Sagatas, may all negativity and moon, accomplish through the compassionate mantras Gathas, through faith, samadhi, and words of truth, construction of jewel, abode of jewels beyond three realms, the auspiciousness of all collective good qualities of that supreme Buddha field equal to Sukhavati, that all negativity and degeneration be ended, and bliss and goodness increasing like the waxing moon. May it be auspicious to enjoy the glory. Okay, so the dedication prayers here. You know what? Before we do that, we'll make these dedication prayers of the whole this booklet. Okay. Please open up and find this prayer, Sampa Lundrukma. Okay. So this is one of the prayers that in particular was recommended for Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And those of you who are here, it's the last prayer in this booklet. Yeah. Okay. So it's a prayer to Rinpoche to spontaneously fulfill all the wishes. And here, what kind of wishes do we have? So everything, all the way up to complete enlightenment, right? As we motivate at the beginning of the session, then to think, as fast as possible. So for all sentient beings to achieve enlightenment as quickly as possible. But even before that happens, all these proximate causes of suffering, suffering due to war, suffering due to famine, economic problems, natural disasters, environmental degradation, and so forth. All of these sources of suffering, may they be pacified in this world and all the worlds of the 10 directions. And then also for us and all sentient beings, always to be guided by perfect, qualified, virtuous friends, like Lamas of Rinpoche, and all their holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And then especially for success in our Dharma studies, our Dharma practice. So for all of those reasons, we then make these heartfelt supplications to Guru Rinpoche, Pamasambhava, in Dewachen, Emaho, in Dewachen, blissful realm of the West, Amitabha's compassionate blessing was aroused, and he blesses emanation, Pamasambhava, to come into this world to benefit all beings. Compassionate one, you never cease to bring us help and well-being. To the lotus-born Guru, Virgin, we pray, grant your blessings so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. All the Dharma kings from Chuzon Detsen down to the very end of the royal line, through past, present, future, may your past blessing. You are the only protection for leaders who follow Dharmas in Tibet. Compassionate one, you safeguard the lands that practice Dharma. The lotus-born Guru, we pray, grant your blessings so all their wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. While your wisdom body subjugates the Rakshasas in the southwest, you look on sentient beings everywhere with compassion. Magnificent guide for sentient beings that astray by ignorance. Skillfully you teach them with their emotions so difficult to attain. Compassionate one, your love is constant in this kindness and care. To the Lord-born Guru, Lord, pray, grant your blessings so all the wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Now in this degenerate dark age reaches its final depths, at dawn and dusk you come for those that have devotion. Riding on the rays of the rising and setting sun, and on the 10th day of the waxing moon you come in person. Compassionate one, you act with vast power to help all beings. To Lord Born Guru, we pray, grant your blessings so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Now this dark age, the age of conflict, final error of the 500 parts, the 5 poisons of negative emotions grow ever more violent in all sentient beings. Recklessly we indulge in destructive emotions and let the poisons dominate our minds. At a time like this, let your compassion be a refuge and protection. Compassionate one, you lead those with devotion to the higher realms, the Lord's will. We pray, find armies of oppression and trace of doubt or hesitation. We pray, O Guru Rinpoche, with your retinue of the 8 classes of gods and demons, you will repel aggressors in the armies of this we have no doubt. Lord's one Guru, we pray, grant your blessings so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When sickness strikes to destroy the fragile body of sentient beings, when diseases plunge us into unbearable suffering and agony, with no trace of doubt or hesitation, we pray, O Guru Rinpoche, embodiment of the Buddha of medicine, you remove the obstacles that bring untimely death. To Lord's one Guru, we pray, grant your blessings so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When nature turns against us and earth's resources fail, when sentient beings are tormented by the plague of famine, with no trace of doubt or hesitation, we pray, O Guru Rinpoche, with all your bikinis and days of prosperity, you will dispel all deprivation, all hunger and thirst. Of this we have no doubt. To the Lord's born Guru, we pray, grant your blessings so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When the destined revealers retrieve hidden treasures for the benefit of beings, courageous and confident of our pure unbroken samadhi, with no trace of doubt or hesitation, we pray, O Guru Rinpoche, and several from our hidden deity, you will ensure the true heirs receive their father's treasure. Of this we have no doubt. So let us one Guru, we pray, grant your blessings so all the wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When traveling through hidden lands, forests, and deserted places, when our way is blocked and we are cut off by storms, by rain and snow, with no trace of doubt or hesitation, we pray, O Guru Rinpoche, surrounded by mighty local deities, you lead practitioners to the right path. Of this we have no doubt. So let us one Guru, we pray, grant your blessings so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When vicious wild animals menace us, tigers, leopards, bears, and poisonous snakes, on our way through wild, terrifying, and desolate places, with no trace of doubt or hesitation, we pray, O Guru Rinpoche, along with your Ging warriors and protectors, you will drive off these ferocious creatures. Of this we have no doubt. To the lowest born Guru, Virgin, we pray, grant your blessings, all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When obstacles arise in earth, water, fire, and air, to threaten these illusory bodies of ours with destruction, with no trace of doubt or hesitation, we pray, O Guru Rinpoche, with the goddesses of the four elements, you will harmonize the elements into their natural state. Of this we have no doubt. To the lowest born Guru, Virgin, we pray, grant your blessings, all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When traveling on dangerous routes, if murderous bandits and robbers attack us with no trace of doubt or hesitation, we pray, O Guru, Kshetra realization of the four mudras, you'll dispel the terror of all brutality and greed. To the lowest born Guru, Virgin, we pray, grant your blessings, all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When faced by killers on all sides who threaten us with lethal weapons, with no trace of doubt or hesitation, we pray, O Guru Rinpoche, the protection of your Vajra tent will cause killers to panic and weapons to be scattered. To the lowest born Guru, Virgin, we pray, grant your blessings, all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When this lifespan is exhausted and we come to die, if we are racked by the intense anguish and pain of dying, with no trace of doubt or hesitation, we pray, O Guru Rinpoche, as you are the emanation of Buddha Amitabha, it is certainly the born, blissful, pure realm of Delachen. To the lowest born Guru, Virgin, we pray, grant your blessings, all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When this borrowed and illusory body is destroyed in the borrowed realm, when our deluded experiences and further delusions arise to make us suffer, with no trace of doubt or hesitation, we pray, O Guru Rinpoche, you who know past, present, and future through your compassion, you will let all the delusions be self-liberated. Of this we have no doubt. To the lowest born Guru, Virgin, we pray, grant your blessings, all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When we are overwhelmed by karma and circumstance and suffer through grasping that delusion is real, with no trace of doubt or hesitation, we pray, O Guru Rinpoche, King of great bliss, you will utterly destroy the delusions that bring suffering. To Lotus born Guru, Virgin, we pray, grant your blessings, all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. When beings of all the six realms are tormented by immense pain, and especially when our leaders and people are engulfed in suffering, with intense longing and devotion from the depths of our hearts, with no trace of doubt or hesitation, we pray, O Guru Rinpoche, with your unchanging, unwavering compassion, watch over us. To the lowest born Guru, Virgin, we pray, grant your blessings, so all our wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Okay. So we'll go back to the dedication prayers in the Medicine Buddha practice. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of the Guru Buddha, and lead all sentient beings without exception to that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel bodhicitta that has not yet arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase more and more. And so here, this mind of bodhicitta, the compassionate altruistic wish to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, is also very important, not just for ourselves, but to all the sentient beings in the world, especially all the world leaders, especially Vladimir Putin. May they generate this mind wishing only to benefit sentient beings, want to cause even the slightest harm. Then these two next verses from the King of Prayers. Just as the brave man Manjushri and some other Vajra too realize things as they are, I too dedicate all these merits in the best way, that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praise of the best by the victorious ones thus gone of 3 times so I might perform good works. Due to the merits accumulated over 3 times for myself and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, which are empty from their own side, may the I, who is empty from its own side, achieve the state of enlightenment, which is empty from its own side, and lead all sentient beings who are empty from their own side to that state as quickly as possible by myself alone. And then, because of all the merits of the 3 times created by me, all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and other sentient beings, may there be no war, especially may the war in Ukraine end right this moment. And then famine, no famine, disease, quarreling, fighting, or unhappy minds. May there be great prosperity, and may everything needed be easily obtained. May all the human beings in this world be guided by spiritual leaders teaching only Dharma, and may everyone enjoy the happiness of Dharma. Then for the long lives of the spiritual friends, first for His Holiness the Dalai Lama. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you're the source of all happiness and good, all powerful generous Tenzin Gyatso. Please remain until samsara ends. Then for Lamas of Rinpoche, you who uphold the Buddhas in all way, who serve as model of Venerable, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjunath's victorious doctrine, who mastery accomplished magnificent prayers honoring the three jewels, savior of myself and others, your disciples, please live long. Okay. And yeah, especially then for, Lamas of Rinpoche, who has an operation tomorrow, then, may that be successful. And the Rinpoche, again, show the aspect of being in perfect health, and may we receive extensive teachings from him again and again until we are enlightened. And then all the others who have recently died, may they be born in pure land, they can achieve enlightenment. And then all the beings who are currently sick, also could they be freed from all their ailments, and having been recovered, may they live a most meaningful life by practicing Mahayana Dharma, and in that way achieve enlightenment in this lifetime. Okay, so that's that. Thank you very much, everyone. Sorry we started late, but yeah, that happens. So we'll see you again pretty soon. Actually, I'm going to be here in 2 weeks again. I leave for Dharamsala tonight, and on my way back, I'll also come here. So, Tashile, Namaste, and we'll see you next time.